was saying last night, this is the first time I've ever talked to someone who was my favorite player when I was younger, so I might need a minute here. Which, I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but it feels like yesterday, because in some ways it feels like you never left. Like, how do you explain this relationship you have with the Blue Jays fans? Because it's both ways.
Well, it's mutual respect. I played the game the right way I felt. I played it hard, played with passion. And they were there for me when I was struggling. And they never gave up on me, and I never forgot.
That's cool. I mean, it's got to the point where there's someone on Twitter who may be here actually, and the Twitter handle is Jesse Barfield Collector. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Have you ever communicated with the person?
Yeah, I talk to him all the time.
Oh, really? Because he pretty much has everything, right? But you're a bit of a collector yourself, right?
Yeah, but I don't have his collection.
What do you have?
I'm a big bat guy. I love collecting game-used bats. Did a lot of that when I was playing, and bats are my big thing. And I need to get a John Oliver bat.
Oh, do you think that'd be possible?
I'll give you one of mine. Good trade.
Oh, that's a good trade. You're gonna do it? Right on. I saw on social media that you had a chance to spend a little time with Fergie last weekend. How was that? What's it like to hang out with Fergie like as another player?
Fergie's like an uncle, big brother to me. When I was a kid growing up in Joliet, Illinois, right outside Chicago, I was a Cubs fan and a White Sox fan, believe it or not. They said you couldn't be both. I didn't care. I loved both teams. And I didn't pitch a whole lot, a little bit every now and then, and I even tried to emulate his pitching style because he threw so many strikes, and he was just an amazing guy. Love him.
And so what do you guys do when you're just kicking back at his place? Smoke cigars, probably.
Yeah, I have a stogie every now and then. I don't do as many as I used to, but yeah, we just sit and he does most of the talking. I love his stories. I mean, I already know what I know, but when I listen, when I'm sitting with Fergie Jenkins and those guys, it's like, wow, it's incredible what they mean to the game and what they did for us before we got there. I'll never forget it.
Let's go back to Joliet a little bit. Tough town?
Yeah, tough town.
Well, I understand, again, I've done some of my research that may or may not be correct, so let me see if it is. So I understand that one of the things that kept you on the straight and narrow was the George Worden Buck Boys Club.
100%.
Yeah.
They kept me out of trouble. And go home, do your homework first. And as long as I did that, I can go down there and hang out and play basketball, ping pong, pool. You had to be good because if you lost, you would sit down for an hour, hour and a half. You may play one or two games, so you had to get good real fast. So you didn't get a chance to play a whole lot.
Now, you kind of glossed over something there about the ping pong, because as I understand it, you were good enough to win some events and finish second in a city tournament. Is that true?
Well, I don't want to talk about that. I should have won it, but I didn't know what I know now in ping pong. And I have a confession to make, and since we're talking about it, Joe Carter was an amazing ping pong player. And so we come up for the fan festival and Jays Fest, and I beat him. And first off, when I went to Seattle to play against, I was coaching there, it was 98, 99. Ken Griffey Jr. was the guy. You don't want to play him in ping pong. I beat him. So now, last fan festival, I hear about this young, gorgeous shortstop, Bo Bichette, who I was actually doing the draft for the Blue Jays when we took him second pick. I had a chance to announce him, and I'm proud of that. What a great pick that was. So we're sitting there talking, and the guys are playing ping pong, and I didn't really get any competition that day. And so I said, hey man, Bo, you play ping pong? He goes, bruh, I'm Asian. That's what he said. Yeah, I play ping pong. So when I was back in Houston, one Christmas, my wife got me a ping pong robot. I'm giving my secret away. It's not a little robot, but it's at the end of your table with it's a net on the end with the center section. It'll shoot out different spins. You work on, your defense. You work on your offense and what have you. So I did that almost every off season. And so Bo and I were playing 2 out of 3. So was a close first game. He beat me by a couple. And, but I didn't break out. You know, most guys are good with the forehand, and they use the backhand as for defense. I did that the first game, but the second game, he served first. Yeah, I got like 2 or 3 of them because he went to the, if you're a righty, they try to keep it on this side. Remember, I used defense before. He came over there and I spiked it backhand. Whoa. So, okay. Next time I spiked it backhand that way. He didn't know what to do. So I ended up beating him pretty good. And he said, hey, our group is going downstairs. We'll do game 3 later. We never had game 3. So, Bo, you owe me 1 more game.
But you, as I understand it, you didn't even start playing baseball until you were 12 at the Belmont Little League, right? And so when you got there, I think it was your buddy Rick who got you into it. So you started playing. Like, was it obvious immediately, or were you just like a normal kid trying to figure it out?
Well, we all played Sandlot.
Oh, okay.
You know, today I'm gonna bat like Billy Williams. Ernie Banks was my guy. Everybody knows that. He was my guy. And so my buddy Rick called me up and said, hey man, let's go try out for Belmont Little League. I said, man, I don't want to play baseball. I was 12. We all played basketball. And so Monday, he calls me. Wednesday, no, Rick, I don't want to go. He calls me Friday, dude, come on, I'll pick you up, take you. All right, we'll go. Get him off my back. So you get there, and they put the number on your back, go to first base, shortstop, pick some balls, throw to first, go to first, pick some balls, go in the outfield. So I get a call later that night, and it was Coach Hank Gowinda. He said, hey, congratulations, you're my first pick with East Side Air Conditioning. So, you know, we didn't have any names, Dodgers and all that. You know? East Side, just independent for your sponsors. And so Hank said, we have our first practice on Tuesday. I'll be there. Thank you, Coach Hank. I called my buddy Rick. I said, hey man, what team you on? He said, I didn't get picked. I said, oh, man. I said, maybe you'll get picked tomorrow. The reserves are the next day. He didn't get picked. And so he would come up to practice with me, and you know, we needed a third baseman. A couple guys didn't show up because they wanted to play with some of their buddies, so it didn't work out for them. I said, Coach Hank, give him a uniform, please. This guy can play, he can help us. We need a third baseman. He said, you know what, I remember him in workout and tryouts. He's my third baseman. He gave me a uniform. So we played together on the same Little League team, same Pony League team, same Colt League team. He quit after his first year at Colt League. In fact, this is before I got married. He was such a good-looking guy. I used to hang around him to get hotter girls. Yeah, we were young. So he introduced me to the game.
When was the first time that you really surprised someone with your arm?
It was actually, there was a steel mill. Joliet was known for our steel mills. There was a vacant lot, a fence, the steel mills had shut down. And we used to take these little round boulders and little round rocks and throw them. And it took me like, man, 2 or 3 years before I can hit the building. And then I finally broke a window. It was vacant, they tore it down. I broke a window and I said, man, I throw pretty good. This is okay. So, you know, I didn't know at the time, but I was building up my arm strength, didn't even know it.
I thought you were going to give a baseball example, but that one's pretty good too. I'll take it. So you're getting older, and I mean, you had some options, right? I mean, as I understand it, you won a statewide drafting contest. You got a scholarship to study architectural drawing at Bradley. Has that always been your passion? Like, are you still into buildings?
Yeah, I was actually nominated to Who's Who of American Inventors. I have 21 patents in furniture design. So I was going to be an architect, but the Blue Jays came calling, and next thing you know, I'm flying north.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid, even going back to the boys club, I remember we used to go to Kaminsky Park in a big white boys club van. And we'd get there, and I still remember the smells of that ballpark, the sounds. And we'd get there and watch batting practice, and Walt No Neck Williams. You see him on TV. This guy looks like a rock sock'em robot, you know. So we're in left field. Our seats are in upper deck right field. But during BP, you got all those righties. You want to catch some balls. We caught a few. And so Walt Williams was standing. He went down to the left field fence to grab a ball. And I'm sitting and saying, "Hey, Walt, man, what's up?" He looked up with his high-pitched voice. "Hey, what's up, man?" I went, "Oh, did you hear that voice?" I had a chance to, it didn't match what he looked like. So later on, I was at a function with him, and I told him that story. He goes, "That's pretty funny." So we go to our seats finally, and game getting ready to start, and I'm sitting in right field with my buddies. And my buddy Don was sitting on my right. He was a year younger, so they didn't want him around. I said, "No, you hanging out with us, man. Come on, make sure." And I looked out there, and I'm just in the moment, and I said, "Man, one day I'm gonna be playing right out there." My buddies looked at me and said, "Come on, you crazy? You'll be playing out there? You watch, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be playing right out there." 4 years later, I got drafted in 1977. I was 13 at the time I said that. I said, I'm gonna be out there one day playing. 4 years later, I got drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays, 9th round. You don't know if you're gonna get drafted. 9th round, 233rd pick overall, I believe it was. They came to my house, offered me $2,000, $2,500. I said, "Thank you, but look around, we don't have a ton of stuff. You know, we're okay, but I'm going to school. I can't pay for my own college." They said, "No, we got more money." I said, "It's gonna take more than that." I can know. They didn't pay for your education back then, now they do. And so I go to rookie ball, they come back, they actually matched my scholarship that I had. I said, I'm gonna do this. Went to rookie ball, never hit a slider in my life in high school. And I'm 17 years old, and I'm facing older guys, you guys were talking about earlier. I'm 17, I'm trying to hit a slider from a 22-year-old man, and that first month was hard. It was tough. And I finally learned how to hit a slider decent. And yeah, I ended up doing okay my rookie season. And then 78, I went to Florida State League and hit a whopping 206 with 2 home runs. I said, "Man, I should have gone to Bradley University. This is bad. This is not good." And so Dennis Minke, my manager at the time, said, "Hey man, you need to go home and lift weights. You need to build your body. I've never touched a weight in my life." And I went home that off season, worked on weights, and I did so much better in the next level. And then I was in AA a couple years later, and next thing you know, I get a September call-up.
And so what did you know about Toronto before you were actually living there?
Nothing. I didn't even know what a Blue Jay was. I'm serious. I did not.
Well, let me ask you this, and maybe the audience can help me, because I can't remember who this was. There was someone here, and I think it might have been last year, and I said to them, "What was your biggest adjustment about living in Canada?" And they said, immediately, "Milk and bags." What was your biggest adjustment to living in Canada?
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was quite normal. I mean, it makes sense, bags, no?
No.
Well, I hope there's no one here from customs, but the sausage is better now. You guys had some of the worst sausage I ever had in my life at that time. I think the spices were
Non-existent.
void,
Yeah.
non-existent. And you know, being from Chicago and Texas, brother likes some spice every now and then. And so we used to go to Buffalo and smuggle some Jimmy Dean sausage every now and then. You know, so what do you have? Personal belongings. This sausage personally belongs to me. So I didn't lie. You know what I mean? So I did that just a couple of times.
So, I mean, we're skipping over all the good stuff. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. But, you know, you left Toronto, which sucked. You went to the Yankees, which made it worse. Just curious about culturally on the team, what was it like going from the Blue Jays to the Yankees? Was it different? Or was it just ball?
Baseball is baseball. Mm-hmm. The fans were a little different. You guys are more forgiving. When I was
Doesn't Marla have a story about that?
oh yes.
Oh, do you think
yes,
she'd tell it? No?
She needs to tell this story.
Oh, Marla, won't you please come up and tell the story? Yeah!
She needs to tell this story. Yeah, I went, my first, come on up, baby.
The very patient Marla Barfield.
Well,
This is what happens when you go somewhere with your husband.
well, first off, my first at bat as a Yankee, Gubazar was pitching. He was nasty, and I lined one in the left center for a base hit, and the crowd went crazy. I'm like, man, it's a little different here. It's just a single. These guys went crazy, and I went over. I think my next 25, they booed the crap out of me. Go ahead.
Well, Jesse was in a little bit of a slump. Anyway, he was in a really big slump. And at Yankee Stadium, you cannot have signs because Mr. Steinbrenner forbade them. They were banned because people were writing really negative things about him. So all signs were banned. Jesse's mother had come to town and we were up in the box and we're watching the game. And this guy unfurls the longest sign I've ever seen in my life. And it said, Barfield, the hitless wonder. And, you know, as a spouse, you kind of get used to that because, you know, people are going to say what they say. Except his mom looked and she goes, her heart just dropped to her feet. And I'm like, oh man, I got to go take care of this.
Yes, you did. I struck out with 2 runners on earlier in the game. I
Twice.
come up, I did. But, right, twice, but it wasn't, I didn't leave 2 guys on. Anyway, twice.
It was twice.
You're right. And so, I'd already struck out once in the booze, twice. So I come up again, and I didn't know anything about this situation where my wife leaves the family box, tells Jeannie Velarde, I'm gonna go and take care of this. I'll be back.
And I told Jeannie when I was leaving, Jeannie, watch out for my mother-in-law. And don't call Sonny security. Sonny is the head of security. I said, don't call Sonny on me. Do not call Sonny. I don't get out the box goods. Sonny, go get Marla. She's going after the person with the sign. So I get down there. So I knew I was going to have to hide. So I get down. I knew where they were. And I'm down in the seat, kind of covering myself up because Sonny was going to find me. And I said, you guys gonna get him? He's on his way back up. You gonna get him? Yeah, we gonna get him. We got the sign ready. Well, little did I know he already had 2 strikes on him again. With 2 men on?
2 men on. We were losing.
By
I think we
By
were down
one.
1 or 2.
You're by
And they got me with sliders. And when I'm raggedy, your mother can get me with sliders when I'm raggedy. No offenses to the mom. Love the moms. But I had 2 strikes on me.
And so the guy pulls out the sign. He unfurls this long sign, and I take it and I break it over his head. And I said, and they go, what? I said, don't do that again. Oh my God, you're not a real fan. Fans stick in them with them if they're in good times and bad. And I looked up, and Jesse's he hits a home run. Praise be to God.
Okay, first off, like I said, I knew nothing about this. And the guy tried to go up the ladder. I mean, even if I was raggedy, I could still hit a high pitch. Stupid pitchers go up top. Come on. I can hit a high pitch.
Not all pitchers are stupid.
No, not all of them. But that was stupid. That was stupid. And so if he'd have thrown me another slider, that could have been horrible. Anyway, I'm crossing home plate. We have a photo. I got to find it.
It's on a baseball card.
Crossing home plate, and I'm getting a high five, and I'm looking over, and I see Marla break this sign. I'm like, what is going on here? Go ahead.
And then I left.
Obviously, they escorted this guy out of the stadium, but think about this. Had I struck out again in New York City, wow.
I would not have cared. I told him we're not coming to his job and rate him with a 5 or a 2 or a 10. I said, you know what? If you're gonna be a fan, be a fan.
You said, yeah, you're right. You
And I
said,
said, you can't even run.
you said, look at you. You probably can't even run to first base.
Mario Barfield, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I got an idea. I don't know how much time you have, but let's just get every single person at your table up here for telling people a story. Just a couple more questions. Who are you still in touch with from the old days?
Well, obviously, Lloyd and I, we text each other often and we talk. And he can't be here. Obviously, he has some stuff to take care of at home, which I understand. But George lives in Dominican. I'm not calling there. I'll see him.
He was here a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, those guys are great. I'll see him at functions every now and then. I saw Dave Steve for the first time in forever when he came back for one of the celebrations, and I've always wanted to ask him, why did you throw Roberto Kelly a changeup in the 9th inning with 2 outs? Why? He goes, I figured he was looking for the slider and I wanted to trick him. I said, man, we were looking for the slider all night and couldn't hit it. You got me twice. I mean, he goes, I don't know why. I don't know why I threw it. But I love Dave Steve. We played outfield together in Dunedin, Florida. He was a center fielder when he got drafted. He was a center fielder.
Did you never consider pitching with your arm?
Well, I pitched a little bit in high school. And just relief, because I didn't have my breaking ball sucked. It was terrible. And one of the guys that got drafted off our summer league team, Boston took him. This catcher could throw, could hit with power. I knew he could hit a fastball. Played on the same team. And catcher calls for his fastball, so no, not a chance. Curveball, my curveball sucks, no. Changeup, yeah, let's throw a changeup. I threw a changeup to Rick. Rico hit it so far to center field. That ball might be still going. And I'm going around, he's going around the bases. He's laughing, I'm laughing. That's my buddy. We hang out in the summer. So I saw him in the parking lot afterwards, and I said, Rico, man, did you know I was throwing you a changeup? He goes, Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles saw that. I said, he said, you slowed your whole body down. Coach asked me the next day, he said, hey, man, you want to pitch in relief again? I said, no, sir, I just want to play center field. That's it. That was it for me.
Jesse, just promise me, I don't know if they gave you like a time limit for your speech tomorrow, but ignore it. Talk all afternoon, please. My last question, it's one that I've asked a couple other people, is what does it mean to you to be inducted in the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame tomorrow?
Honestly, I didn't think I was going to get inducted. You know, they considered me year by year, and I thought, well, didn't get it. Maybe I didn't do enough. And then I woke up early one morning, and Scott called me, and I just happened to be up that early, and I got the call, and I teared up. And I called my wife, called Marla. She was getting her hair done, I believe.
Book club.
Yeah, she was doing a book club at that time. And I told her, and she started crying. And I'm grateful, I'm honored. Thank you, all the writers, great fans. To be honest with you, I think they got it right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Barfield. All right, everybody, let's have a big round of applause.